Hi, viewers. Welcome to another edition of Mary Clinic Live. Thank you for joining us again on this section. It's our third year anniversary, and we've been having different speakers speaking to us on various topics. And just now, again, we are going to be having someone talking to us on emotional intelligence. As a matter of fact, he's an expert, on this topic, and he will be speaking to us today on why we need emotional intelligence in our relationship and marriage. It's a big privilege to have today on Marriage Clinic Live Abiola Salami. Is that I actually call it Abiola Champion. Hey, welcome, Abiola to Marriage
Thank you.
Clinic
Thank you
Live.
for having me. And happy anniversary, by the way. Happy
Yeah,
third year anniversary.
yeah,
12 months, 24 months, and 36
36.
months.
Thank
It's
you.
not easy,
I know, of
to
consistent
sustain,
work.
consistency. A lot of people want to achieve greatness, so they start. Then after a few seconds, not even a few months, after a few seconds,
It's
say, see, this thing's not working. So well done to you,
thank,
and well
thank
done to everybody that has made this happen. To sustain the momentum, and to
you.
all the members of the group. I see how active the face group is. Shout out to all of you. Thank you very much for all you do
Thank
in
you.
supporting this vision. It's one thing to have a vision; it's
Mm,
another thing to have the right people to
mm,
be with you in delivering on the vision. So, congratulations to you, and
thank you.
congratulations to everybody who has
Thank
made this happen.
you. I know. Thank you, Biola. So straight to the point. So why we need
Okay.
emotional intelligence. So what is this emotional intelligence? Because we've been hearing emotional intelligence, and we know you are the encyclopedia of emotional intelligence. So,
Not quite, not quite. Hello,
so
hello.
maybe
How are
you want
you?
don't mind, go sit down. So
Uh,
maybe you want
well,
to tell us what that is.
okay. So I'm not encyclopedia of emotional intelligence. I probably just know a few things about emotional intelligence, and I think it's a great question you've asked. So that we can put things in perspective, because a lot of times people mention the phrase emotional intelligence, and what they mean, they actually mean something completely different.
Mm,
Some people may be talking about manipulating others, and then they say, oh, they're using emotional intelligence for me. Some people may be referring to some fraudulent activity somewhere, and they say they're using emotional intelligence from me. Some people may be using emotional blackmail, and
mm,
then they'll say, oh, they're using emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is simply the capacity of every one of us, you and I, to understand our emotions, understand our personalities,
mm,
understand why we behave, how we behave the way
yeah,
we behave,
mm,
and then based on our understanding of our emotions, we manage ourselves effectively. That is
mm,
one part. The other part is about understanding why people behave the way they behave, understanding the interests, the motives, the needs, of other people. And based on the knowledge we have about them, we'll build effective win-win relationship with
mm,
them. So that's what emotional intelligence is. It begins with the individual. It begins with me understanding my emotions. And when I understand my emotions, when I understand what triggers certain emotions in me, what
mm,
triggers anger in me, what triggers fear in me, when I understand what triggers it, maybe it is something someone says to me, or maybe some movie I watch,
mm,
maybe something I read from somewhere triggers a particular kind of feeling in me that leads me to behave a particular way, then I pay a
mm,
bit more attention to myself and know how to manage myself appropriately, so that I
mm,
can always put my best foot forward, so that I can always say and do the thing that will help me to continue to be relevant, and in a married sense, to continue to be that kind of partner, that
yeah,
my spouse, desires. And for those who are dating, that the person you are dating, desires. I mean,
mm,
that what triggers anger in you is when she says a particular thing. By the way, she may know as well that that thing will get you angry, and she will say it on purpose. It is good for you to know that that thing gets you angry, because there are times that, because we're not the best judge of our behaviors, because we don't see ourselves
True.
fully well, and other people are like mirrors that can see us and know us
Yeah.
better than we know ourselves.
Mm,
And some people can use that knowledge to manipulate us.
mm.
So you don't know that. One of my favorite phrases, I would say mumu button. You don't know that the person is just pressing
Yeah, but,
your mumu button, and then you're just there just responding. The person's just remember, I mean, when we were in secondary school, for example, people used to tease each other. People had nicknames,
mm,
back then. And then, and the reason some nicknames stuck was because when some people were called a particular nickname, they will fight. Never, don't call me that name again. And then they will say, that's your name going forward. It is because they triggered the individual into behaving that way, and they saw that the person is responding without the person knowing that they're just trying to manipulate the individual, or they're just teasing the
mm,
individual. So it
mm.
is important, that we all understand ourselves, understand why we behave the way we behave, be
Behave.
conscious of what gets us angry. Every now and then there's conversation about domestic violence,
True.
and we're quick to blame whoever is violent. We're quick to blame the man if he's the one violent. We're quick to blame the woman if she's the one violent, without necessarily even looking at the issues, surrounding the person's behavior. A particular thing might have triggered some thought, feeling, and action
True.
in the other person. But we
Mm.
just want to explain it away that no, 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 no. So far you love him, you should not be violent to
To
him. Or so
him.
far you love her, you should not be violent to her.
Mm.
Without necessarily seeking to understand. And that is another strong thing in emotional intelligence. Empathy. Empathy says seek to understand before you are understood. You know what? I actually think that you cannot really love somebody if you don't really know that person. Because what are you loving?
Exactly.
you know, what are you loving? And that knowledge is not about the person's name, the village the person has come from, the school the person attended, what position the individual is in the family. While all of those things could influence the personality of that individual, it is not just about that. What makes this person speak? What drives this individual? What gets this person angry? What makes this individual happy? What
Yeah.
makes the person comfortable? Although there are
Mm.
people that once they find out this is what makes their partner comfortable, then it is what will make the person uncomfortable that they will be serving the individual. You know,
I
you
know.
know. So those are things that the opportunities emotional
Mm.
intelligence gives us. And I refer quickly to the Bible. The Bible said something about a soft answer turns away wrath.
Rough.
A soft answer. Yeah, because there are issues in relationships,
Mm.
that are not as serious, but the way we respond to it, the way we respond to it now can continue to degenerate the issue, and then it may lead to real fights, and then ultimately divorce.
Mm.
Even when you are upset, so you know yourself that this thing triggers anger
Mhm.
in you. I've not seen anyone that is accused of being quiet. That said, oh, this person was angry and then the other person was quiet. So we're
Mm.
accusing you. Why didn't you speak? Why didn't you insult the person back? Why didn't you insult your partner? I don't think there's anybody that has won an accolade for um for insulting. So
Mm.
there are times that it's just about using our ears more and using our mouth less. And I believe the reason God created us with one mouth
With
and
mouths.
2 ears is so that we will use this more, that we use
Mom.
this. But you and I know a lot of people in relationship and marriages, and this is always the problem. I've not seen any time where this has given anyone any problem. But you said your own, me too, I can talk now. Man, you say and then back and forth, and then it's the
True.
conflict.
True. Thank you so much for that. So, on this emotional intelligence again, I know that anger is an aspect of emotional intelligence, our ability to manage or control our anger whenever we get angry. What would you be saying about this, especially as it relates to married couples? Because no matter how much you claim to love each other, you will still do things that will get each other
Sure,
angry. So,
sure.
what should you be doing then whenever you are angry, or what shouldn't you be doing that could lead to a break of the marriage, so to speak?
Mm. You see, a couple of things. How to avoid how to avoid a misunderstanding
Mm,
leading to drama, anger. One of the things to do is never to take each other for granted. Don't take the other person for granted. And that is critical. And this happens a lot in relationships, especially in marriages. Yeah, we are married. We are married. So what is the problem? Please, and the person is saying something really important to the individual, and the other part, the partner is, see, please just leave me alone. You started, yeah, I don't want to hear. Just go. Whereas, who knows? While dating was still going on before the marriage, and the communication used to be great. Both of them used to pay attention to each other. So not taking each other for granted is a very important thing, and it's easy to take each other for granted, in the marriage. You see, another point is that the media we consume, the
mm,
media we consume will determine how we will manage a misunderstanding. Anywhere there are two people, there is bound to be misunderstanding, right?
mm,
So, that will there be misunderstanding? The answer is yes. How can you reduce the leading fight, a full blown fight? The media will consume what we watch on TV, what we watch on social media, the conversations we get into. Most of those conversations, you see, a lot of times, a lot of couples are drinking poison and they're
mm,
happy drinking it, but they don't know it is poison. So
mm,
you watch a reality TV show, and then what the couples are doing there, is just bantering, fighting each other, crossing out each other, or yeah, watching something on social media, or all of those stories that some people create, and people are commenting on those things on social media. The thing, the attention you pay to consuming those things, and your responses as well. Some people just respond because they want other people to clap for them. They're not responding because they're trying to create a solution. They're just responding for likes and for followership. All of those things, they have their deposits in our minds in a way that when we find ourselves in a misunderstanding, we just
mm,
react without thinking. You
mm,
see, neuroscience tells us that only 10% of our thoughts is a conscious thought. They fall into the conscious thought, which is, if I ask you now, Morala, what are you thinking of? And you tell me you're thinking of A, B, C, that is just 10%. The other 90%, you're not conscious of it. And it's that 90% that just determines how we behave without thinking. And
true.
that other 90% are deposits from all we've heard, from the stories we've heard, the Bible
Mm,
you read, the message somebody preached, the Nollywood you watched, the Hollywood you watched, the social media you saw. I mean, everything is just there. So the moment somebody says something, immediately a response comes from that 90%. I mean, for example, now, if somebody says, I am crazy, does it mean I am crazy? If somebody says, I am doesn't mean I am mad. But what we do most times is the moment somebody says something like that to you, you now want to prove to the person that what the person is talking about, go, 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 go. That is who you are. And what we're not conscious of is that it is coming from our unconscious mind about what we should do under those circumstances. So it is important we pay attention. There are some movies that they will say is trending and a lot of people are celebrating it, right? It's important we pay attention to the things we consume from those places. See, there are movies you shouldn't watch. Don't even try watching it because it will deposit something in your mind and you will behave accordingly. Don't engage in certain conversations with some of those your friends. You want to another way to manage this anger thing, the friends, the company that you keep. Because in those relationships, I'm not talking about the married relationship now, but in those friendships, for some people is in the alumni association. In those friendships, there are conversations people have, passionate conversations people have, that people could even be lying to each other that, what, under these circumstances, this is what I would do. I would never allow any man to do XYZ, or I would never allow any woman to do XYZ, whereas the guy is just bluffing, right? It's not true. And then you listen to that kind of conversation, you take that with you and you go and use it to engage your spouse, and it becomes a big issue. So we need to be conscious. Emotional intelligence brings us to a place of consciousness, where we sift, where we can choose who we take from conversations, so that we're not drinking the poison that will hurt our relationship and our families in the future.
Thank you, Viola, for that.
Thank you.
So another aspect of it again is our emotions. So, for example, some people think with their emotions rather than being objective.
Mhm.
Whenever there is a challenge or whenever they are faced with an unfamiliar situation, rather than them to be objective, they become emotional about it, and that could cause you know some rift between two people, especially as it relates to married couple or people in courtship. So what do you think about that? Do you think it pays to be emotional about situation or about issues, or it's better to be objective?
Okay. So, from the body of work that I've been exposed to, people who have high emotional intelligence are those who can combine both objectivity and emotions to make a decision. Not just that you're on one side, that you are objective, or you're on one side, you're just emotional. Is that you are sensitive to what is going on around you, and you also acquaint yourself of the facts, and then you can make adequate decision based on your feeling and on your thinking,
Hmm.
right? The challenge for those who make decisions based on their feeling most of the time is that when you do that, you make a lot of mistakes. You bruise, your emotions follow your judgment. So
Hmm.
at the end of the day, you're unable to provide the right solution. On the other side, the challenge with people who are just objective is that, yes, they may achieve the goal, but they will bruise a lot of people along the line,
True.
and then you may find yourself arriving at the destination alone,
No.
whereas you're supposed to work with people. So, what
Hmm.
should people who 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 use their emotions, who are always beclouded by emotions,
Hmm.
what should they do? My recommendation is, when you know yourself as that kind of person, remember self-awareness. That
Yeah.
is the individual knowing himself or herself.
Hmm.
When you understand that this is the way you react to things, anytime you are in a situation, the first response you should give is pause. Don't say anything yet. They've told you there is crisis. Before you start to jump up with your hands on your head and cry, pause a little bit. It has been proven that when we pause for some 5 to 10 seconds, our thinking would
Hmm.
kick in. And when the thinking kicks in, we're able to, yes, the individual is largely emotional, and then the person is able to bring thinking to be objective about the issue, rather than just wailing and crying, and everybody's asking what's going on,
Hmm.
and the individual cannot even articulate what the issues are. So it is important that it is both thinking and feeling that we should use to make proper judgment, whether in marriage, in business. It is both. We have to combine both easily. But what we have is most people, um, um, they are led by their emotions, and the way to lead your emotion is the action that you take, in such issues. Just pause, just calm down. Again, back to the content that we consume, a lot of times we're not conscious that some of this content we consume, they are designed to be dramatic. They are designed to be dramatic, so, and what you realize that there's subliminal message that is going through people's mind. You see, some people, they even anticipate bad news. Nothing bad has happened yet, but they are expecting it. They are
Mm,
just expecting it to happen. Why? You've seen some horror movie, you can combine one movie with another movie, and then there's a lot of movies playing in your head. Nothing has happened yet. There's a lot
mm,
of movies playing in your head, and by the time you are talking to your spouse, it is
mm,
something playing in your head that is not in existence.
mm,
And your spouse may be wondering, where's this where's this person getting all of these conversations from?
mm,
But what we need to do, watch what you consume, then in those moments of truth, pause so you
mm.
can think before taking any action.
Thank you so much, Viola. So the last question is, what advice would you be giving to um, married couples who are usually finding themselves, in conflict? Like some people will be like, oh, we fight more than we laugh together. We are always fighting, we are always quarreling. I don't know, for unknown reason, we just keep fighting. So, what advice would you be giving to such people? Because it's a sign that they need to be emotionally intelligent. Like some will say, oh, I don't know, I just get irritated for no reason. I don't just like what he does, or I don't just like what she does. So how can they come out of that to mature,
Mm.
in the relationship?
This is a very important question. And the truth is, whatever I say here um, may not really truly help. What they want to do is to go in and find out what's the background to this. See, we're all products of nature and nurture. What's the background to this? How come I've started seeing this person differently? Have I always been seeing the person differently? Or this just began such that, the person says something and I'm just upset, about whatever the person does. What led me here? What's the thinking, in my mind? Am I now, as my status changed, such that the way I'm seeing my spouse now, I expect this spouse of mine to be operating on a particular level with me and
Mm,
having some level of conversations with me that the
mm,
person is not having
mm,
because I am developing in status and in thinking, and the person is not developing. Just imagine two people, one has an excellent mindset, the other one, mediocrity is okay. I mean, the fight will continue. The fight will, the
true.
fight will continue.
It will
You
be
know, so
endless.
yeah, so it's to find out what those things are, and then if that's the example, then how can you help your spouse? How can you help your spouse to develop to that level of thinking, that excellent thinking? You know, and if you have done your best, and you cannot get the person, to that level of thinking, is to just understand that this is where I am, and it will be frustrating for you if you're just always upset with the person. If you just end in frustration, just know that this is where this individual is, and you can always continue to seek intervention to help that person. A critical thing, emotional intelligence. As we continue to grow, there are times that one spouse, for whatever economic reason, one partner will start gaining exposure, will start earning more income, and will
Mm,
start going for certain trainings because of some responsibilities the spouse
yeah,
has, in career or some other opportunities that is showing up for the individual. And
yeah.
the other spouse may not be as driven as the other person, or the spouse may be as driven but it's not getting those opportunities, you
Mm,
know. And what to do to ensure that there's no lag in that relationship
mm,
is for both of them to be conscious about their present situation and for them to be growing together intellectually. You see, one of the things that can easily destroy a marriage that we
mm,
don't pay attention to is
mm,
intellectual differentiation.
mm.
Intellectual differentiation. So
True.
initially, they were both maybe at par,
Mhm.
initially. And then, life is happening, different kinds of things happening. Then one of them, it's not just about the man or not just about the woman, it could be any of them, and one of them, is growing and the other person is not. You see, we have our explanations for it. If it is a man that is growing, we have our explanation for it. If it is a
Mhm.
woman that is growing, we have our explanation for it. And these general explanations don't actually help.
Mm.
Because so the general explanation for the man is now that it's growing, many women will be looking at him. And all of and then so maybe the wife is complaining about something. So you're
Yeah.
just jealous because you think other women outside will be looking. Let us reverse it. When it is the woman that is growing and the guy is not, and maybe the guy is complaining, or he's saying, "Oh, you don't support the woman." When you don't support women, how do you want women to not shatter the glass ceiling? All of those conversations. But the real deal, which we hardly deal with, especially in some of these conferences that they put together everywhere,
Mm.
is we don't deal with the real issues. We just say what will inspire people, what will blow their ego, and not necessarily something to make them fix their character. I
Mm.
read a book many years ago. It's titled "The Seven Habits of Highly Effective People." You will know that book more or less.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, Stephen Covey talked about character ethic and personality ethic,
Mm.
right? Um, Personality ethic, just see it as branding, just see it as the container. Character ethic is the content, right? For
Mm.
the most part, couples focus on personality ethic.
Mm.
As we continue to grow in our businesses and our careers, we continue to focus on personality ethic without the character ethic. Because character ethic demands that we should continue to watch ourselves, observe ourselves, and seek improvement. That's not
Mm.
improvement in income, but
Mm.
improvement in managing the income.
Mm.
That's not just improvement in having a huge house. That is
Mm.
improvement in managing the home effectively.
Mm.
That's not improvement in public speaking,
Mm.
personality ethics. That is also improvement in communication between couples. You
Mm.
know, um, that as people continue to grow, they grow apart, and then there are issues. And by the way, one other thing to do is they should go and get the magic of emotional intelligence.
Exactly.
Sign up for the online course. By the way, there's an online course now. We've turned the magic of emotional intelligence into a virtual course. So anywhere you are in the world,
You
go
can.
take it. It will help
Mm.
you manage anger, manage fear,
Mm.
manage in-laws,
Mm.
manage in-laws. That's another huge
Yeah,
topic.
I know.
All around, all around.
Yeah.
Okay, it's our time.
Yeah, thank you so much, Viola.
Thanks a
Thank
lot.
you so
Thank
much. And
you.
we hope to have more of you. It's been an
Sure, sure.
expository time. And that book, The Magic of Emotional Intelligence, is the bomb. I think I've only read like the first two chapters, and I'm like, no,
Oh,
this one, I need to make it my daily manual,
mm,
So people should try and look out for,
yeah.
that book. It will help you a
Yes,
lot, in your even professionally in your career, in your relationship.
yes,
It will
yes.
help you. Thank you, Biola, for
Thank you.
joining us.
Congratulations once again. We will
Thank you.
celebrate fourth anniversary, fifth, sixth,
Amen.
seventh, eighth, 10th, 20th, 30th, 40th.
Amen.
Or should I
Amen.
stop 50th?
Amen.
60th?
Amen. Amen.
My God.
Amen. Amen. And it
So
will
thanks a
outlive
lot.
us by
Amen.
God's grace.
Amen.
Thank you so
Amen.
much, Viola.
Thanks a lot. Thank you for having me. Yeah, bye
Yeah.
bye.
Bye. So we have come to the end of today's section. We have the final section tomorrow. Hope to see every one of us. Please do join us tomorrow as I will be wrapping up and taking um, the topic love marriage, then embrace the walk. So see you tomorrow. Till then, I remain your host, Marlai and Oputianaise.